Welcome back to the Fantasy Brothers podcast. We got me, we got Ben, and we got a mock draft. This is going to be a good one. Before we get into the mock draft today, got a few housekeeping items. Number one, if you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe, leave a comment, let us know. What should we have them let us know?
Just tell us what you think. We're trying to branch out our game a little bit into the YouTube area. Obviously the podcast isn't going away, but we're going to try to start doing more stuff on YouTube and see how that goes and what we can do. So tell us what you like, what you don't like, what we can improve on. And yeah, just let us know. We're always, obviously, just comment about fantasy if you want. We'll respond to that. We'll talk about fantasy all day.
Also, if you're listening to us on your podcast player of choice, leave a review, rate us where you can do that. Obviously, give us 5 stars because
don't. If you're gonna give it 1 star, just don't rate. Just walk away, put the phone down, just go listen to someone else. It's that easy.
We got a rookie mock draft today. We're gonna basically what we're doing is we are pulling up one of our shared dynasty leagues where we have an enormous amount of rookie picks, and we're going to go through that rookie draft and kind of explain where we're feeling some player values. And at the end of it, we'll have a 3-round rookie mock draft with some hopefully extra little information for all y'all to take into your rookie drafts. Before we get into all that, though, we do have some news. It is free agency in the NFL, and there are a whole lot of deals to go through that will be fantasy relevant. So we're just going to rifle down this list here.
There hasn't been that many fantasy relevant, though, which is weird. Like, there's no... I mean, there's some, but nothing has really shocked the world yet.
I mean, I guess that's true. There were a couple that were pretty insane. But yeah, overall, nothing too crazy, I guess. But the first one, I think worth mentioning, Jakobi Meyers signed with the Raiders for $11 million per year, which I thought was really interesting because I thought he was going to get a lot more money than that.
I think Jakobi Meyers is a good receiver.
Yeah, he's very solid. Not necessarily a star by any stretch, but he's a very solid NFL receiver. I was expecting him to get, honestly, like 15 or 20 million because I think everybody feels like he's the best receiver in this free agency class, and usually those guys get overpaid.
Now he's not even going to be the one on his offense, which is sad.
He's going to be the 2. He was probably going to be the 2 in a lot of places, but...
I mean, that's fair. He was only the 1 in New England because they have nobody.
Nobody. So he will be the 2, or maybe even the 3 because they have Hunter Renfrow still.
Yeah, Hunter Renfrow's good.
He's not bad himself.
And Jimmy G's the quarterback, so can he support 2 great wide receivers? I doubt it.
He can support Devontae Adams. He can support just enough Devontae Adams to where you're not completely done with Devontae Adams, but he's not going to be great. We'll put it that way. Yeah. Allen Lazard. Well, okay. Backing up here a second. So Aaron Rodgers gave the Jets a wish list.
I hate Aaron Rodgers.
And so the Jets are signing all his friends.
It's going to be real sad for Jet fans when they do all of this to get Aaron Rodgers and he decides, I'm not going to the Jets.
Oh. Yeah.
I hate Aaron Rodgers.
Anyways, they overpaid Allen Lazard. They gave him, I think it was $10 million a year. So...
They're going to overpay Randall Cobb.
Yep, and Mercedes Lewis.
George Cook, probably.
Oh, jeez. Bad. I mean, okay, all things considered, Lazard is fine. He's a good run blocker. Initially, when I saw it, I thought, Breece Hall up and to the right. But, I mean, really what this is...
Breece Hall was already up and to the right.
Exactly. What this really is they're trying very hard to get Aaron Rodgers, and he is jerking the leg around. Sam Darnold was signed by the 49ers. Old Kyle Shanahan got himself a third-string quarterback.
Okay. He needs them. They're going to have 9 quarterbacks on the roster going into this year.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to need him because, you're right. Brock Purdy may not be good to go by the start of the season. Sam Darnold or Trey Lance, yeah, question marks about him with the broken ankle. Who knows? So, yeah, Sam Darnold may be the week 1 starter for the San Francisco 49ers.
Trey Lance is in year 2 of the NFL and still has yet to breach 20 games total played since college.
Including college.
Yeah, including college.
I think, what was the ridiculous stat? I think it was that Tom Brady threw more passes last season than Trey Lance has thrown in his entire college and NFL career.
I would believe that. Absolutely.
It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Rashad Penny signed to the Philadelphia Eagles. I think this is probably the most maybe the second most fantasy relevant signing in the free agency period. Obviously, Miles Sanders is going
somewhere
away. We don't know where. He's going somewhere. Rashad Penny, to me, could certainly rinse and repeat, be what Miles Sanders was for them a year ago, assuming he stays healthy.
Yeah, that is a big assumption with Rashad Penny.
That's the operative word there because he has not done a very good job of that the past 5 years.
My man, I don't even have a comp to Rashad Penny as far as injuries. Like, the dude just cannot stay on the field. And, like, they're not necessarily his fault. Some of it is just bad luck. I'm like, just breaking legs out of nowhere. Gosh.
He's got terrible luck. And what's so sad about it is he's a great player.
Oh,
like,
he's awesome.
if he was not so injury prone, he's probably made himself a very large amount of money. And it's very possible that, he's not super old. He's 26 or 27. So he's probably still got a couple of good years left. It's very possible that should he stay healthy, he could be a 1,200-yard rusher for the Eagles. But obviously,
I think capability-wise, he can do the same thing that Miles Sanders did this year.
For sure. I think personally, and again, we haven't really seen it for a full year, I do think Penny is a better rusher than Miles Sanders is, but Miles Sanders does more in the passing game. Rashad Penny does zilch in the passing game.
Sanders is probably a little bit quicker than Penny is.
Yeah, he might be. Penny's just like a big home run threat. Like he's a big play waiting to happen. Could be very, very interesting for the Eagles. It'll be interesting to see where he goes in drafts. Probably the biggest move, though, thus far was that the Giants traded a third-round pick and acquired tight end Darren Waller.
Well, not just us, but they need pass catchers, and Darren Waller is a pass catcher. It's not a receiver, but close enough, right? I still think they should draft a receiver with their first pick.
I would not be surprised if they did that. If you're going to go sign Daniel Jones to a $160 million deal, your very next move, which it is to go get him some pass catchers because he did not have any good pass catchers.
Yeah. That is my biggest argument that I keep making is I get all the hate that Daniel Jones is coming from, but he has yet to have some legitimate weapons to work with. So if they're going to pay him $160, let's do it. Let's make sure he's worth it. Let's help him succeed.
Exactly. Yeah, so Darren Waller certainly should do that. And I think, honestly, now that he is on that offense, it's going to be so much more of a condensed passing pie that I think Darren Waller's probably going to be a pretty decent tight end option just because tight ends suck. And most of the problem with Darren Waller was that there was other guys who could steal passing work in the Raiders' offense.
Does he jump back into the top 5 tight ends, or is he still outside looking in?
I think he's right after Hawkinson, but I would be okay taking him over George Kittle.
Okay.
So I guess, what is that, 5?
Well, you and I differ on TJ Hawkinson. You've probably got him at...
I've got... Okay, so it would be Kelsey, it would be Andrews, it would be...
Don't say it.
Hawkinson.
There you go. Good job.
Waller. Pitts.
There you go. I'm okay with that.
All right. Final thing here could be potentially very interesting. The Los Angeles Chargers granted Austin Eckler permission to pursue a trade. They don't want to pay him.
Please, Lord. Please, Lord. Get him out of there.
I'm not
Tired
going
of
to lie to
Austin
you.
Eckler.
I think it could be pretty decent for the rest of the Chargers offense for their fantasy finishes for Austin Eckler to not be a Charger. It's great for Herbert. I think it's great for Allen. I think it's really great for Mike Williams.
Yeah. Dude, I'm sick of them getting down to the 5-yard line and then giving Austin Eckler the ball 4 times in a row and he scores. Just let Herbert be the MVP that he is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really tough to be an MVP when you've got a running back sniping 30 touchdowns a year.
Yeah. That's why I'm fully back in on Justin Herbert this year. I am so ready for him.
I think that there's probably a pretty solid chance he jumps back in to the top 5 and maybe even higher than that. I could see that being a possibility.
I'm all in.
Why don't we do it, huh? You want to hop into this mock draft?
Speaking of all in, let's jump into this.
Let's do it. All right. So we got the draft sitting right here. All we got to do is hit start. And yes.
So before we go,
start.
how are we going to do this? Because are we going to draft, on our top rookies, I guess, or is this going to go based on the positional need of the actual team? Because this is a mock of a real league we have that we're in.
I would go just based on how you see these players.
On how we see these players. Okay. If that is indeed the case, simply because we don't know landing spots, this is a Superflex league, I am going to go with CJ Stroud at 2.
That is wild. So, okay.
This is in my head, he's the most likely guy for the Panthers to take. And if he is the guy that the Panthers are this all in on, I think he should be the first quarterback off the board.
Fair enough. And I don't think that is crazy. But also at the same time, if I've got that number 1 spot, I'm really going to swing for the fences. So here with myself on the clock,
obviously
I will
Bijan
take
went 1.
Anthony Richardson. Yeah, obviously Bijan goes number 1. You take Stroud 2. I go Richardson at 3.
So I have a lot of first round. I got 3 top 5 picks in this draft. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
So back on the clock at 4. I've got 4 and 5, so it's kind of the world is my oyster here, which is great. Staring down. So I took CJ Stroud. So I got the quarterback. However, Bryce Young is still on the board, and he's very intriguing to me. I think you gotta go the quarterback since it's Superflex and take Young here.
Yeah.
And then I'm sitting still at 5, and that's when I'm easily taking, if he's still there, Jackson Smith and Jigba. That's our top wide receiver off the board.
Yeah, that's where it gets so tough because you got these 3 quarterbacks, and the assumption is obviously that Bijan is going to be the 101 in rookie drafts. Those 3 quarterbacks, you make the argument that they go, 1, 2, 3 after that. And so then at the 105, you're sitting where you can either take Jahmyr Gibbs or Jackson Smith and Jigba, unless somebody kind of upsets the order with those first few picks and instead of taking a quarterback goes with one of those positional players, which makes it really interesting. So yeah, 105, 106, and Jigba and Gibbs, which puts me back on the clock at 107. And this is a very, very difficult pick to have in rookie drafts. I am not going to lie to you because the pretty much the decision here. You're going between, in my opinion, Zach Charbonnet or Jordan Addison. I would not take Quentin Johnston as the wide receiver 2. So, you're not considering tight ends or anything here. I personally, because I think the dude's a stud, I would go Zach Charbonnet at 107.
Wow. Is Will Levis anywhere in consideration for you there?
No. I am not. So in a rookie draft, I'm either trading for one of the top 3 guys or I'm just straight up passing on Will Levis, to be honest with you, unless he falls to the second round. I know his value's in the first, but I do not like the trade-off of that first-round rookie pick for Will Levis right now.
Okay.
That might be a hot take, but
yeah. Well, see, I see a lot of people put Levis as the 105, like right after Stroud, Richardson, Young,
nope.
then Levis, then the skill guys.
Yeah, I would not.
Which
have done that.
I don't know where I would put in the situation how I would go. I mean, obviously, I guess that's a lie. We know I took Njigba and Gibbs and them, but I see the argument, I should say, for just the quarterback, since he is, he's a prototypical build and everything for quarterback, so who knows. But after Charbonnet, you take Charbonnet, Addison goes 108, then Levis at 9, Quentin Johnston at 10, then Michael Mayer, Kayshon Boutte, Jalen Hyatt, Josh Downs, putting me back on the clock next. And I think I go with, he didn't run the 40 at the combine, but I still like everything else about his profile. I take Sean Tucker there.
Yeah.
And kind of pray he's good. I think he does have the size where he can still be a solid quarterback or solid running back. We didn't see him run the 40, but we all suspect he's really fast. So we'll see.
Yeah, so we don't really have any more rookie picks left. I got this last one here at 309, but I think the way this draft sort of worked out is really interesting. You get Tucker, in this case, it's a 10-team league. So Tucker at the 205. But Zay Flowers doesn't go till the 206. And I think he is probably going to be a stud. You get Devon Achane, Zach Evans, and Tank Bigsby rounding out your second round. And all of them are good. Kendre Miller goes phenomenal, at the 302.
Especially Bigsby.
Yeah, all these dudes are great. Hendon Hooker, I think, is a good quarterback. Yeah. I comped him. I was talking to somebody, and I comped him to Jacoby Brissett at I think that's probably his floor. He's a better runner
than Brissett. He's definitely a better runner than Brissett.
He is, for sure. He's Brissett if Brissett could run.
He may never start, I don't know, but you're taking the bet of if he does start, he's going to be just fine for fantasy.
Exactly. So, Kendre Miller at the 302. He's really good. Roshan Johnson at 304. Everybody says he's Chris Carson, and that seems pretty legit. Dalton Kincaid, Darnell Washington.
Kincaid may go in the first round, which I think that should bump him up to the second round of rookie drafts at least.
I think he might, and that would be terrifying. Okay, so there's really no quarterbacks left that are even remotely interesting. Stetson Bennett and Tanner McKee kind of rounded out this third round. There's a couple more running backs that I think are kind of interesting, so I'll just take a flyer here on Israel Abanikanda. Luke Musgrave rounds it out, and that closes out the rookie draft.
A couple, Rashee Johnson didn't get drafted, which is interesting.
Rashee Rice, sorry, yeah. So that was something of note, but a lot of people are looking at him in third rounds, but I don't know, something to see. Yep, I don't know. I think there was a lot of interesting stuff there. I think when it comes to those first few picks, it'll be really interesting to see where the quarterbacks go, when the positional players start going, and then how far players drop into the second round. Because I think there's going to be some really good players in the second round that you're just going to fall, that'll fall into your lap kind of thing.
Yeah, this is one of those classes. Normally, I don't really treat second round picks as much, and I kind of throw them away as toppers on trades. But this year, that pick is worth a little bit more in my eyes to me. There's a chance, I'm sitting there with the 205, if a Sean Tucker type player is there, like I'm keeping that pick.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I think if you're in a 12-team league and you have, rookie picks between like the 201 and like the 205 or 206, I'm pretty excited about what I might be getting with those picks. Like I might be getting legitimate flex positional players at those spots. And I don't know if they're ever going to be studs per se, but I think you have guys that have an 11 points per game kind of expectation in their future kind of thing, which, as we know about fantasy football, especially running backs, they get hurt, which means having those guys that can go get you 10 points per game. If they score a touchdown, they could get you 14, 15 points. That's great. Having those guys on your bench, being able to slot those guys in. So I think being able to stock up, there's probably 4 or 5 of those types of running backs that will be found in the draft this year.
Yep, I agree.
Anything else?
Nada.
All right, we'll wrap up this one. We'll see you later this week. When we're talking dynasty sells, we got some really good stuff for that one. But that'll do it for this episode of the show. We'll see you.